Hello, hello, hello. Let's get the screen open. Right, this is another MAME stream, and as I put in the description, it snowed here a few days ago, and I thought, there are plenty of snow-based games in MAME, aren't there? Well, there are enough, especially if you start to look at the non-arcade releases. So, I'm going to start with what is an obviously snow-based game, and that is Steep Slope Sliders. Now this is from Cave. You probably know Cave better for doing the bullet hell shooters, but when Cave weren't doing bullet hell shooters, for some reason they were doing a snowboard game, and this was on Saturn-based hardware, STV hardware, so it's unusual in that too, but let's point it up and see how it plays. So here we go. Choose your character, each one's got different skill sets. Shall we go from speed? Let's go from speed. Stage 1 is the extreme course, which runs through the wilderness. Pull as many tricks as possible throughout the course, or your game will be over even if you reach the goal. Score more than 500 trick points. Okay. Now, the first impressions of this game, never the best for me. And the polygons are very flickery and distorty, more like a PlayStation game at times. But and the first stage is this night stage, so it's all very dull. But people seem to say good things about this one though, so maybe more of a game in here than you give it credit for. I mean, Cave obviously a reputable developer, so it'd be unlikely to churn out something that was completely awful. And they've done PlayStation driving games, so you can pull off some decent tricks. There's 2 buttons only as far as I know. But you know, you get on the hills, you pull the tricks, wiggle the joystick a bit, and yeah, it's nice and smooth. I assume it runs just as well on the original hardware, although I haven't ever seen this running on original hardware, so can't say for sure. Not much to do in terms of tricks at this point. Ooh, that wasn't the best. I mean, like most of these games, sometimes not always obvious which way you're meant to be going. Just follow the hill and hope for the boat. Oh dear, I'm messing with these tricks. And I mean, I've already got plenty of points, so didn't need the points, but never good to mess up a trick, is it? You see the bit of polygon drop out at the bottom of the screen there. So I think I got a D rank. That's not the best rank, is it? But it'll do. And stage 2 is the Japanese course, relatively flat, so you must execute the tricks perfectly, and basically it's the same thing, but with a bit of a higher score tally to reach.
3, 2, 1.
And
now.
Hey Bob, happy 100th day of the Gregorian calendar year to you too. Does it typically snow around this time of year? I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it snows in this country around this time of year. I had it next month as well at times, just before my birthday. But it was a bit of a surprise because it came after a whole bunch of really nice days. Thank you for joining the stream. I hope you're doing well. You do lots of little tricks, but you see, you get the point tally quite quickly on this one. The difficulty isn't really ramped up yet. Although if you land on your head like that, then you might not. But there we go, I've reached the point tally already, so now I can just concentrate on reaching the end of the course. Well, I think doing tricks might... Yep, Alaska's definitely going to have the snow covered. And I don't think we need any more. It just causes chaos in this country. People don't know what to do with it. Apart from, you know, build snowmen and not go to work, which isn't a problem at the moment for most people because there's nobody going to work much anyway, apart from the essential workers. But everybody seems to have settled into working from home. But yeah, it wasn't too bad the other day. It was just a light scattering of snow, but just reminds you of how variable the weather can be. There we go. Nice and easy that time with 4 seconds remaining. Now there are quite a lot of snowboardy type games. Some of them snowing right now, is it? Oh dear. I guess you're more prepared for the snow there based on it snowing all the time though. It's like Centauri was Santevi was telling me another time he joined in the stream, it was just everything was snowed over in Finland, but they're kind of used to it. Now, this isn't even the only wintry game on STV. There's also Winter Heat, although I think that runs quite badly because it's a high resolution game. We can have a look at it in a bit though. Oh, Invisible Wars. Yeah, so needless to say, I don't think Cave ever followed this up with another game. They did a mobile version that was advertised on their site around the time. I don't know if that mobile version is one of those things that's lost forever now or is somehow preserved. I know nothing about that, but obviously they're better known for their shooters, as I said. I think a snowboard shoot 'em up would be a pretty cool thing, though. I mean, why isn't there a crossover, you know, bullet hell snowboard game? It might be a little bit tricky, but got a good sensation of speed on this course, though. Although I'm running out of time. Oh dear. Time over. It snowed and iced in Texas like 2 months ago. Was that with the whole power outages and everything? I remember reading something about having a few problems in Texas. Yeah. I guess Texas is not prepared for the snow and ice. I mean, got a different character. Right, so I just meant to go fast on this one. Is this a Sonic stage? Got to go fast. Probably not. Yeah, unnecessary trick. Okay, don't tell me off, game. It really rubs it in that I'm not meant to be doing tricks. Okay. Mystic Warriors ski level. See, I wasn't specifically looking at levels in this stream, unless they're like the first level and it's the first one to show off. I might do that for a separate stream because I have created a list of like snow and ice levels in games, but I want to create save states for a lot of those so I can just jump to the level first. So I think that might be a separate stream. Hey Diogo, thank you for joining. And yeah, it did sound quite bad actually in Texas, Cow, so I shouldn't laugh. It is quite amazing how ill-prepared we are for snow. Oh dear, I appear to have failed again. I'm not very good at this level, am I?
Please continue.
I know the gate direction alternates. So if I just go with the highest speed one, you're the highest speed, maybe I can get down this slope with you.
3, 2, 1.
I don't think that many people play this one because it's an early 3D game that tends to look a bit rough. If I actually manage to do the slum, I get more time. Oh, okay. So yeah, I get it. Sorry, I wasn't paying enough attention to the game, was I? But yeah, after the first impression of the first level, which I didn't enjoy with this game, I think it picks up. It's just that dull, gloomy night stage is a really bad introduction to a bright, snowy skiing game. Or snowboarding game. I believe Arctic Thunder's PC based like Hydro Thunder, so not specifically. Those look a bit tricky. In fact, Hydro Thunder is a game I'm probably going to look at. Not so much Arctic Thunder. I think Arctic Thunder is that only on the budget of the Dreamcast. Hydro Thunder I was definitely going to look at. There's the goal. There's the goal. There's the goal. Get to it. Get to it. Get to it. Yes. There we go. So yeah, if it's the same hardware as Hydro Thunder or similar, Midway Quicksilver, it's sort of 200 megahertz PC, I think, with Voodoo cards and the like. Maybe something slightly newer. So kind of tricky to get working. I think they've got a bit of security on them too. Italian course has the most elevation variations in the game. I think if the PC emulation in general improves a bit more and we get more Pentium 2 level PCs running with PCI hardware, we might see those improve. Although I think that's probably a case where we're going to see a lot of lost revisions because we've got update discs for Hydro Thunder, I believe it is, which don't apply to the version of Hydro Thunder that's dumped, or it's already updated past that version. Because that's what they did with that system. They gave the updates out on floppy disk. Because again, it's a PC-based platform. Where is this? Again, we're back to nighttime stages. Although at this point, a bit more used to it. I don't know. this part's tricky. Yeah, Hydro Thunder and Arctic Thunder and the like are ones I would actually really like to see progress on. I did really enjoy those games actually. I'm not always the biggest fan of Midway's over-the-top games, but those ones, yeah, I really liked. No. Too many crashes to make that one. Let's give this another credit.
Please continue.
Hold down the buttons longer to get more points. Okay. So there's a fair bit of strategy to this beyond button mashing that I've not quite got yet.
She started.
So, trick rank E. Not E for excellent, unfortunately. E for enough of that, it's no good whatsoever. You are going to hurt yourself, break your neck or something. I need to actually get the speed up to finish the course, unfortunately. No, don't do that, that's stop. Right, this is where I lost a load of time last time as well. Trying to speed through here. No, get up, get up. Oh dear, no. This started off so much better than the last run. And then I've got further because this is where I ran out of time last time, so maybe frozen icy cave or river, and I still ran out of time. Oh, and apparently there's a waterfall on the side because we get to see through the walls. Oh yeah. Steep slope sliders from Cave and Capcom on Sega's STV Saturn-based hardware. It's actually pretty good fun, that one. I could generally be happy playing that for quite a while, I think. Let's have a look at River Patrol. This is a game from Orca. Now, this is obviously moving from snow to ice. Copyright 8101. So this is from like 6,000 years in the future. No, it's probably from January 81. But I like to think it's from 6,000 years into the future. Yeah, Death's Mouse 2 is snow, is PC hardware. That's the very Christmassy themed one. It's also incredibly ugly, but never mind. That's also Cave. But yeah, Death's Mouse 2 is like a 3 GHz dual core Athlon 64 or something like that. But it uses the onboard video, I think, on the system or something. It's a bit of a mess, that one. I don't know why Cave decided to go for PC hardware for that, but they did. So yeah, you rescue people by running over them, but don't run into rocks. Just demonstrating that rocks kill you there, honestly. Now, this again. Early game from Orca. That looks like a floating caterpillar, but I think it's an oil barrel. You're not very manoeuvrable in this, I'll tell you that much. If you think you can weave in and out of things with ease, yeah, think again. But bon voyage. Now, I don't know why there is a water gauge. I guess it's just a timer. There must be a hole in the boat or something. That wouldn't surprise me. There's definitely a hole in the boat after I've been driving it, controlling it. There we go. Let's try again. Yes, I'm demoing the wonderful collision system here. I mean, I'm sure this is one of those that once I get used to controlling it a little bit, it'll be easier. But look, you sort of have to nudge forward like that because your horizontal movement is. I became a clock. Look. So anyway, you do get out of those at least. The whirlpools. Dog's bad. There's a lot of people swimming in this water. I mean, I don't know if they all jumped off a bridge further upstream or fell off a cruise liner that got stuck somewhere. So anything's possible, really, isn't it? Did somebody just get sucked down the whirlpool? Oh well, I'm joining them. I don't think you have to hammer the button to get. I think you just have to wait. And crocodiles. Maybe that's why everybody's swimming downstream. Oh no, just yeah. I know I'm running. Well, I'm filling up with water apparently. That was a near miss with the crocodile. Oh. I would have thought the boat would be a bit tougher than this. And there we go. I sunk. Although I did slightly better this time, didn't I? Oh, am I back to the start? Yeah, I think if you lose, you go back to the start. Wonderful. I will try to complete a level of this. I mean, I've almost got the high score. High score. It's not the worst game. It's it's quite playable in some senses. It's just, you know, not the best game either. Wait. Is running over people bad? What? Why did that person die when I ran over them? Do they die if you're using your actual accelerator when you run into them? I'm going to have to try that out now. It looked like I killed somebody. I got the top score there, look. By 780 points. I want to complete a level before I move on. Although you'll love where I'm moving on afterwards, I have to say. Because if anybody here familiar with River Patrol? Because I know if you are, you'll know exactly what I'm going to do after playing River Patrol. And it doesn't involve jumping in a river. It's a jolly little tune, isn't it? Yeah, it seems to be a game about caution. Yeah, sometimes they just die. I don't get that. Kill a boat. And then I hit the rock again. But some of them, when I run over them, I get points for them. No, Orca didn't do all that much as Orca. And I'm pretty sure Orca ended up being somehow historic, the roots of Toaplan, didn't they? Crux, Orca, that lot somehow eventually evolved into something bigger, I seem to recall. I'm not 100%. The people have a water gauge. That... Just go up the side. I mean, it's not quite Park Patrol, is it? I like Park Patrol. I might play Park Patrol later, although I don't know which version. I think the C64 version of Park Patrol is the best, but I don't have it. Master Ninja, thank you for joining. How are you doing? Oh. Alright, well, when I get to the end of this, I'm probably going to be charged with murder. Oh, come on. I didn't hit the boulder. The lower the gauge, the more likely to get points for them. You mean you meant to let them almost drown? It's not if I'm holding the fire button either. Because I was holding the fire button when I got that one. Might be the speed. Oh, the logs don't kill people, only me. And yeah, I think you do have to hammer the button to get out the whirlpool, actually. No, I was going full speed and I got that one, and that one didn't die. Yeah, I really don't understand the game logic here. But I will move on shortly because clearly I'm struggling to get past this level. And I don't think you want to be watching River Patrol all day. Careful, careful, careful. Oh. That's straight. That's the front of the boat. I got 100 points. Oh, I hit the caterpillar bell. Okay, I got a better score than last time. Okay, that was River Patrol. Now, what's this? This is Silverland, 1981 by Falcon. This is probably a hack. This has snow though. Does it look and sound in any way familiar? Oh dear, I killed a bunny. I got 100 points for a bunny. It might seem a little familiar. Because, yeah, this is River Patrol with a snow theme. Now, one of the strange things with this is we have seen boards with the ROMs all mixed up, so it's a board with sort of the snow graphics, but the program ROM's clearly for River Patrol, so it was still saying Bon Voyage and stuff. That set was just added with the correct graphics because clearly somebody had only half converted the board or something like that. But yeah, the game code is fully compatible between the two games. It's just, you know, the graphics have been replaced and the text strings in the program ROM were replaced. I could have used this for the Easter stream, but I didn't realise at the time it had bunnies in it. But I will know for next time if I want to do another Easter stream next year and rescue/run over some bunnies, then this one is an option. See, it doesn't really make sense that you'd be sucked into a puddle of, you know, a sheet of ice like that. But you can tell it started off as the boat game, River Patrol. No. Oh, I didn't like that polar bear. Sorry, Bunny. No, I genuinely don't know what the mechanic is for if you rescue them or kill them. Now, I noticed the there's no visible sign of the water meter on this one. I don't know if there's no water limit, you know, time limit, or if it just doesn't show you it. Because you don't always know with hack games. So if it just randomly decides I've run out of time without ever telling me, because there's no point in those things if you've not got a time limit. But again, the wonderful world of hack games. No, I'm not going that way. I know last time I went that way. No. That just looks like a dead fox, doesn't it? I'm starting to feel a little bit guilty killing these bunnies. Oh, apparently this game's easier than the previous one, or I just actually got better at it, but there we go, I have completed a level on Silverland, even though I couldn't complete a level on River Patrol. Anyway. I'm going to move on anyway. You've seen those two games. Right. Shall we go with a classic snow game? Snow Brothers, Nick and Tom. I mean... that was a panda on a ski slope, yes, Bob. I mean, maybe pandas... I think it was meant to be a polar bear, but it really does look like... I think they've used a panda graphic, haven't they? I was being kind when I said polar bear. Now, I think most people are probably familiar with Snow Brothers. It's one of those all-time classic Toaplan games, really. That just does everything right in terms of this genre. It's a formula that's been copied many times. If you look at a lot of recent homebrew type games, they'll often... Okay. This is a terrible example of how to play Snow Brothers. Maybe it was sort of somebody's, rug. I mean, especially the ones that didn't move, did just sort of look like somebody had let a rug slide down the ski slope. Having a house clear out at the top or something like that. It's like, no, we don't want this old rug anymore. Although I believe that one was animated, so maybe it was somebody inside a rug. I don't know. I've learned not to question hacked games too much over the years. Dynamic Trail 7's not done, no. Again, it's one of those I don't think are actually going to be dumped, but who knows. Well, fire is the worst enemy for snow, so, you know, this game gets that right, doesn't it? Come on, I'm actually good at this game. Believe me, I do know what I'm doing with this game. Although clearly not today. But, this is a personal favourite. I mean, I love single screen platformers anyway, and this one I'm clearly just out of practice because I used to be able to clear most of these stages and maybe the first world without dying, and now I'm dying everywhere. There we go, let's get a bit of a chain going, that's better. Hey R09, thank you for joining me on this stream. Hope you're doing well. Any particular snowy, icy or watery games that are your favourites that you would maybe like me to potentially have a look at? I'm open for arcade and non-arcade as long as there's platforms that are probably going to work and have some loose connection to the theme. And some of these connections I've got in my list so far are fairly loose. But, I'm starting with the obvious ones. Like Snow Brothers. I appear to spend more of the time actually melting though, don't I? Now, I played that Brick Graveyard Shift game a few weeks ago, and that's got kind of similar mechanics in the sense that, you know, you're hitting enemies with something and then you're pushing them out the way and they slide down the screen. So you can see the level of influence this game has had over the years. That's what we're saying about recent homebrews, and it's far from the only one to, you know, use that type of mechanic. But, and of course, we looked at Nightmare in the Dark for the Neo Geo last time this game came up, which is a bit of a copy of it. Did we have a look at Come Back Toto, which is a hack of it with less snow? I can't remember. Ah, yes. Thank you. Well, I'm glad you managed to catch up. But yeah, the River Patrol and the Silverland are just hacks of each other. Quan Mang. How do you pronounce Quan Mang? I'm not sure. Aqua Rush, yeah, the Namco one. It's a bit like Konami's Block Hole, isn't it? I'm always a little weary about streaming Namco games because their soundtracks seem to cause havoc for Content ID, but Aqua Rush is probably one I'll... Kun Mang. Okay. Is that correct? Kun... Klingon. Yeah, right. That probably explains why I didn't get it. I did like a bit of a Star Trek, but I never sat down to learn Klingon. Hey GP, thank you for joining. How are you doing? You got any particularly favourite snowy games? You know, video ones, not playing outside in the snow, building igloos and whatever else. You know, I'm sure you'll have good childhood memories of doing that. Hey Gangrel, thank you for joining. Yes, I believe we might all be nerds here. You've got to be pretty nerdy to join in one of these streams, I would say. If I'm offending anybody by saying that, I'm sorry. This is definitely quite a niche, I would say. A bit of Snow Brothers. Shall we get to the first boss? Shall we beat the first boss? What's the goal for playing Snow Brothers for a little bit? Because here is the first boss. I think we can beat the first boss. This is kind of a classic formula that gets used for a lot of these games. The boss will throw out the regular enemies, and then you'll use the regular enemies somehow to destroy the boss. I don't know if this was one of the earlier games to do that. Because if you think of that, something like Bubble Wobble, it doesn't really have bosses every 10 stages, so that's one to think about actually. Okay, so Kun Kunmahang. Yeah, we've got a bit of a different tune for the second set of levels, haven't we? But it's a very snowy game, snowmen, and yeah, okay. Anyway, that was Snow Brothers. Now, shall we go with a bit of home computer? I don't know what the set name is for this. It's probably just that one, isn't it? Now, loading sounds incoming, so I'm going to turn the volume right down. This is Bobsleigh for the ZX Spectrum. Let's speed up the loading a little bit. Oh, that didn't work. I'm sure this is meant to be a 128K game. Let's try a different set. Maybe. The problem is the software list here is not the best organised, and I did not try this beforehand. No, that set doesn't work either. Or they're not going to run in 128K mode. Or they just don't run in MAME. Preparation is sometimes a good idea. This one runs. Is this the right game though? This might not be the right game. Oh, this iPhone knows I do specky stuff. He does his own specky streams. Now, if this is the right Bobsleigh game, it's one I really enjoyed. If it's not the right Bobsleigh game, I'd better go ahead and try and work out why I can't load the other one. It's the right game. It's just... Okay. Okay, right. Let's go with some nice Olympic bobsleigh then. Bobsleigh? No, bobsleigh. That looked very much like a multi-face loader with the way it corrupted the screen at the end, but at least this version did load on 128K. So... Bobsleigh. No Bob. I've started. Okay, I didn't mean to start, but I don't know what the keys are either, by the way. Okay. So, okay, you run with up and down. There's probably a button to get in the bobsleigh. There we go. So this is a very early 3D game, really, and I was always impressed by this as a kid. Because first, you don't expect nice, at the time, smooth and fast 3D on a Spectrum, and also the white noise type sound for the bobsleigh, I just found really relaxing. It might be, in some people's opinion, like terrible sound, but people go to sleep to sort of white noise and the like, and for me this had a similar effect. Just don't hit the sides too much. But yeah, I find the visuals on this to be really impressive for a Spectrum, and also yeah, the higher you go on the sides there, the more intense the sound, so you get a real sense of speed from the sound. I just think this is... Oh dear. I think I crashed. But there you go. My push start was slow. The damage was £228. I crashed due to poor steering. The CPC version runs about the same, actually. The CPC version and the Spectrum version of this are very, very similar. Shall we just start again? Try again. I was looking at videos, and there's not much in it. The CPC runs in mode 0, although it's not much more colourful. Yes, you can forget to get in the bobsleigh, which I mean, the C64 version of this is dreadful. I looked up a video of that one too beforehand. This is a terrible game on the C64. But what was getting the bobsleigh? I don't remember anymore. But I think the spec in the CPC version are about the same. I don't know if you have the wrong word or just a different word. I mean, it's the same with many things, isn't it? Tap, faucet, if we're talking watery, streamy things. But, no, American English and British English are definitely not the same thing. I won't call it either wrong, it's just they've evolved in different ways, haven't they? But yeah, this, I mean, you got the nod to your classic sports games with the whole waggle start thing, although it's an up-down waggle. But this just holds up really well as a you know, standalone wintry sports game, much as Super Ski does. If anybody was watching Zypho's stream last night on the CPC, he looked at Super Ski, which is an Amstrad game, and that's another fast, smooth, into the screen sports game, winter sports game. And it's another one that's actually very good. Ooh, let's ride this. There we go. That's. Oh. Yeah, you have to remember to brake too. What's bobsleighing Klingon then, or is there no such word? My push start was good this time, but I hit the straw bales. Yeah, I can happily play this game. It's a good fun game. I'll do one more little run and actually try and finish in time this time. Stop it on time. If I'm in time, there we go. Yeah, there are a lot of old sports games that try to do similar. This just happens to be a favourite. I know there were some winter sports games with bobsleigh sections in. I do think this is a slightly better game than any of the ones that contained bobsleigh sections. Disappointingly, I don't think there are any arcade bobsleigh games. And you would have thought it would sort of make a good arcade game, sit in bobsleigh. I don't think anybody ever did it. I'm surprised. I mean, you could imagine Sega doing a bobsleigh game on one of their super scaler boards. Big sit-down cabinet. I mean, I think people would have enjoyed that. But, I know there were some sled games that weren't bobsleigh as such, but I don't think they're fully dumped. There was a ride-on thing, but that was more futuristic, not bobsleigh like this. Right, so now I hit brakes and stop. And there we go. I finished. I didn't crash. I did £76 worth of damage. It was probably a lot back then, but definitely more than the game cost. There you go. You know, you go through the different courses. But that's bobsleigh for you on the spectrum. Personally, one that I always really enjoyed and still come back to every now and again. Right. Okay. Shall we go with a water sport? Wow. This is New Tropical Angel from Irem. A Cobra Triangle on the NES. There's a Sega one where you have to sit in a sleigh for 4 people. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it's the one where one of the parts of it is dumped, but it's there's a very limited release. I'm not sure it was actually a bobsleigh game or one on a futuristic track, more like Wipeout. I can't remember that much about it. Or I'm just there's one I don't know about, maybe on one of the newer platforms. What was Cobra Triangle, Mass Ninja, on the NES? So yeah, this is New Tropical Angel. Now, I don't actually know the difference between New Tropical Angel and Old Tropical Angel, other than one says New on the title screen. But you know, I've never really played them that much, so if anybody does know the difference and can tell me and I can try and demonstrate the difference, then do let me know. But, otherwise, just admire the nice bikini lady and the back of a boat. And missing lots of jumps, but also missing the rocks, and that's probably a good thing. Oh, not that block. I mean, so Afterburner 1 2, you mean in the sense that Afterburner 1 was a very limited release? I'll try and remember what the Sega game is called that I'm thinking of after this, if I remember. But there was one where there was a single unit of it dumped, but it's meant to be a big multi-unit setup. Oh, Cobra Triangle's a boat game. Right, okay. I might have to have a quick look at Cobra Triangle in a bit then. Sorry. Yeah, Winter Olympics. I think I saw that one searching for bobsleigh games before the stream, and just settled on the one I knew. California Games obviously got more famous than the other ones, but yeah, they did have the winter game. Okay, now I'm hitting lots of rocks. This is turning out to be quite a rough holiday. I'm trying to go for the jumps, but they're much more difficult to get to them than you'd think. Now, I do remember there are a few games that aren't on the list. I've not got a Speedboat Assassin on the list, for example, much to many people's disappointment, I'm sure. Does Andrew on MAME will know about this game? Probably. Probably. It would seem to be his field of interest, wouldn't it? Oh, apparently I can turn around with another button. If you didn't know about it before, he does now. So, I think I failed. Yeah. Shall we give that another credit, because I really don't know what I'm doing there. Welcome to Southern Paradise. The Retro Arts lads have all the boats. Maybe. There we go, you see, you can turn around and do that. Apparently you get more points for doing this. But then... Oh, Dizzy Down the Rapids. That's actually... I'd forgotten entirely about that. And Toobin, for that matter. So yeah, maybe Dizzy Down the Rapids and or Toobin. It's always amazing what you forget to put on your list, isn't it? I'm just going to do this now because, you know, apparently this is a thing. What's a retro arch? Let's not talk about retro arch. We just tend to take other people's work and make it worse. That is how you score points in this game. Now I'm wondering if the difference between new Tropical Angel and old Tropical Angel is this, but I really don't know. Also, I'm not doing any better at the game. I'm still managing to miss everything, except the rocks. So yeah, has anybody spent any time playing Tropical Angel before, or not? Burning Force is another one I've not considered actually. That's quite water based, isn't it? Oh dear. I say I was mainly focusing on snow and ice, and then realised I've already done Pengo, and I've already done Metal Freezer, but I might do them again. This could do with some music. That's the main thing I'm feeling with this game. Just the boat noise and the water noises doesn't really work for the for an arcade game like this. Yeah, that's always a risk. I doubt this hardware has proper sprite scaling. I can have a look. I can try and have a look. Got lots of different banks of graphics. Yeah, it looks like it's all. Yeah, it looks like it's pre-scaled rather than actually having sprite scaling. Yeah, this is a bit repetitive. I don't think there's anything more to it either. I think it's just trying to go along, do the jumps, get between the flags. It's not Irem's best game, is it? You know, I can see what they're going for, but yeah, run out of time. I don't know if there's a goal if you don't run out of time, but yeah, just run out of time again. So we'll probably move on from that one. I did say I'd quickly look up but it doesn't boot in MAME, so Power Sled was a Sega game, but yeah, it's a multi-unit setup that doesn't really run anything. That was on Model 2 hardware. I don't really know what Antstream's using. People have said there are bugs associated with older versions of MAME in it, which is kind of I don't know. Right, shall we have a look at a game that is known for being well, slightly adult in some versions, but not the parent set, thankfully. Oh, wrong folder. Frisky Tom is a Nichibutsu game, and Nichibutsu tend to be known for their mahjong games with ladies in them. There's an old version and a new version of this too. The new version is the parent set, which is suitable for streaming because it uses bikinis, whereas the old version does not. And that is assuming I can actually complete a single level in this. This is kind of like some of those pipeline games on the 8-bit computers, in the sense that there's a big, you know, big set of pipes, and there's all sorts of things breaking them, and you've got to climb up to repair them. And also there's a time bomb and a fuse at times, and you can only move in certain places. So let's repair this. Your dad used to play this one, Frisky Tom. I don't know if it's got any actual ports to computers, but yeah, it's very much like some of the pipeline games That's what it made me think of. But you've got to sort of keep the pipes repaired. Avoid the pink mice that dive bomb on you, and get enough in the end zone there to actually clear the level. Yeah, I think I've actually completed the level then. Or is that just telling me that this bomb is getting far too close to that? There we go. Bonus points. Lucky. Rank C. Now this isn't a terrible game once you know what you're doing. But you really have to wait for both pieces to drop here, because if you try and climb up with just one piece, you'll never complete the level in time. But, yes, apparently mice like to break pipes. But if you touch the mice, then they do move out the way. If you touch the pink mouse, it kills you. Is this what they call a wet Saturday night? I guess it is. That's what this pink one does. You can just get killed by it. Well, this version censors the girl in the ROM, whereas the other version does not. So I think they replaced the sprite. Or there might still be some naked frames hidden in the ROM, but they are not used in this version. So this is sort of the safe version to play on stream, as opposed to, you know, the clone set, which is not. Ooh. You broke the pipe again. I played Super Pipeline, Super Pipeline 2, if they're related to that. There's a Pipeline arcade game, but that is an adult Korean game that I won't be playing. Oh, you've destroyed my pipes again, haven't you, you terrible mice? Did I pass it? There we go, you see. She's in the bath, but she's wearing a bikini, so it's all good, isn't it? Now, if I was to be playing the other set, yeah, that would not be such a stream-friendly scene. But, yeah, Frisky Tom. That's really all there is to the game. It just does that over and over and over again. Right. Mass Ninja mentioned Cobra Triangle. I don't know anything about Cobra Triangle. Let's have a look. Cobra Triangle. Does it work? It's by Rare. Okay, I'm surprised I don't know it then. It looks like it's got a slight raster glitch there in the presentation, but we can live with that. No, it's a different game then. Super Pipeline's like the game I was just playing. So yeah, this isn't a Rare game I've played before actually. But this was mentioned by Mass Ninja. And yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Micro Machines boat level. Not bad, is it? Probably not the only Rare game we're going to be looking at either. Oh, there's a shock. So it's boat blasters, speedboat blasters. There we go. Yeah, I'm surprised there weren't more games like this too. I mean, if you look at the number of games that are racing games, like Great 1,000 Miles Rally, Overtop, World Rally, that type of thing, that's a formula that can work equally well with boats. So I'm surprised that there weren't. Dispose of mines. How? But do you want the mine? Is this like capture the flag with mines? No, you're not having the mine. It's my mine. There we go. Okay, so this is mixing it up a bit. Yeah, it does feel very RC Pro AM. Which isn't a bad thing. RC Pro AM is a decent, fun little game, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, this is decent for a rare game I've not played before. You stole my... I'm not sure why the other boat doesn't want me to dispose of the mines, but you know. There we go. The sound's a bit irritating, but that might be the emulation. Inspired by EA Strike series. This probably came before those, maybe? I pick those up, right. Okay, so yeah, I'm not going to play too much of that. But the boat sounds a bit annoying. I don't know if that's just MAME or just the sound in the game. But yeah, that was an interesting one. I don't know if that has boss fights. Mass Ninja, you suggested that game. Does it have boss fights? Bob's asking in the chat. But yeah, that's actually a pretty good one. That was not anywhere on my radar, so I was never going to have played that one without the chat suggestion. So thank you for the suggestion there. Pardon me. Let's go with the Acorn A3020. Probably need to make it with a mouse actually, don't I? Hold on. I probably need to run this with a mouse. The system people will remember in the UK if they went to school here in the right time, at the right period in time. So this is Cataclysm. Now, one thing I have noticed with this is the disk image that's in the MAME software list does not appear to be completely clean. It seems to have saved data already on it, so almost everything seems to be unlocked in this game. Well, that was a NES game, Thomas, so maybe it sounds better on an old CRT TV. But there are a few issues with MAME's NES sound emulation, so it could just be that. Right, this takes a little while to load, but I believe this is worth it. There we go, nice waterfall. Now I'm going to stretch this a little bit. How far can I get away with this? There we go. Maybe there, that's probably better. Now this is from 1991. Crashing the Acorns was always fun, wasn't it? Putting in the high colour mode and putting all the very colourful icons on the desktop so they didn't have enough memory to run anything. Creating massive RAM disks. They were good fun machines to learn on, to be fair. Insert disk 2. Okay. But, I really have to find out if there's a way to clean the disk and remove the save data, because it's unfortunate. So let's just speed through the loading. Now, I've seen people say this is actually the best game on the Acorn platforms. But you see, you can choose. I can basically choose any of the levels at the moment because I think somebody's already completed them all because they've got green marks by them. And you know, if I go to scores, there's already plenty of scores in the scoreboard from 1994 or 1998. I don't think they were really from 1998 because the game didn't come out in 1998. But there you go. Let's press game. Yeah, that's all good, isn't it? I'll just start. There we go. So this is a water-based physics puzzle game. So you've got to you can drop blocks around which influence the path the water will take, and then you can remove these stops and everything. So yeah, let's put one. Let's not put it there. Let's put it there. So I go up here. I can remove these stops up here, and then I can remove this and let this water flow. And the idea is to get enough water down into the end zone, and it's all physics based. And this is 1991. Oh dear. Yeah, I need to do that. Let's stop them flowing that way. So I can let some water out there too. I can let the water out of here. And I can go up here and let the water out of here. Now, hopefully all this water is going to flow down into the pipe at the bottom here. But you can see the water splits up, goes in different directions. The pressure from the water pushes down on the various items to control and push them down, you know, open up paths. And if you put too much water in any place at once, it will overflow. You've got a timer on the right, which is actually slightly cut off, I think. Hold on. I think I might have extended the screen a little too much. There we go, that's better. So you've got a timer and there's an amount of water you've got to fill for each level. So you've got to fill up the blue bar, I believe. And the red bar, and if the red bar runs out, that's you out of time. Hey Ryan, thank you for joining. Bone Joe. What OS do these run? Riscos. Yeah, this is Riscos. So this is level 2, and again, I can't remember quite what to do. I think you had to do that, although I can't remember for the other side. I think I had to block this off here. So let's go back up. Now, this is definitely ahead of its time. I don't think there were many physics puzzlers in 1991. And I think this was also only on the Acorn. I don't think this was on any other platform. Now, extra water does come back in at some point. I don't know if it depends where it flows out the level or something like that. But you can get extra water. Now, these bits I can fly through, the water doesn't go through. Basically, all the different elements in here have different meanings, like any puzzle game, really. But I think this should get everything down this pipe. Oh, as they say in the old country, bonjour. I thought you maybe were trying to say Bon Jovi. Yeah. The Acorn emulation in MAME is marked as not working, and there are quite a few games that don't work, but best I can see, aside from the disc not being clean and having all the levels unlocked because somebody's played it before, this one works and is playable. And yeah, it's a nice fun little physics-based water puzzle game. Yeah, this is one of the reasons I actually really wanted to see the Acorn systems emulated in MAME, because you're always looking for, you know, what are the unique games on each system, and this is one of them. And there's just tons of levels of water-based physics fun. Yeah, it is a cool game idea. It's probably not one that would ever work in the arcades. Also, you know, you can push the water around. If I fly through the water here, you'll notice I displace it, the different droplets. I managed to make some not go into the end zone there. Slightly annoying is you can't place blocks down if there's already water in the tile, I noticed. But that's just the design thing. So I can lead to that level. Get to level 3, which I haven't played before, so I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to assume there's a similar thing going on here. I mean, sometimes it's just a case of looking at the obvious ways in which water is likely to enter each area. Unfortunately, I don't have enough pieces to effectively do that, so I'm probably going to have to be more careful about what I do on this stage. I can clearly let water go down the left here, but if I start letting it go down the right, it's going to be trickier. And also there's these little things. You see, suddenly it's there's a lot more thinking to do in this level. I think, are they frogs? They don't seem to kill me, so that's good. Now, can I safely get these down? So I don't want that to put too much pressure on there, because I don't want that path to open up yet. So I'm quite happy with stuff going down this way for now. I'm sure they must be causing some sort of mischief. So once that's mostly empty, I think I can safely remove that block. Put it... No? Put that down here and that down there. So now if I go... Oh, there's more water coming out that way. I might not have successfully done this one. Let's see. But yeah, if you've not played this one, and it's not got a name that makes it easy to find, this is called Cataclysm. And that's not a name I'd associate with a water-based puzzle game. I guess using yourself to block the water is also a valid strategy in this, isn't it? Now, I'm now a block. Not perfect. So, yeah. Yeah, Mario Sunshine. If MAME emulated the GameCube, that is definitely one that would be on my list. But MAME does not emulate the GameCube, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm actually helping put the water where it needs to go by just standing here and letting it bounce off my head, and at least half of it goes in the right direction. Unfortunately, there's no music. Or maybe there is music, but I turned it off. I don't know. I did remember music volume. There you go. Filled up the blue bar at the side, and that's that level complete. Going to the next level. You get the idea. I'm not going to spend forever playing it, but it's a game I would recommend everybody have a look at, try it out, because it probably gets overlooked being, you know, on the Acorn. Shall we go to PlayStation? With a game that was mentioned a little bit earlier. Sorry, let's speed through the loading. Hydro Thunder. Now, as I mentioned, the arcade version of this is not emulated. It runs on PC-based hardware. There's a Dreamcast version, which is a bit better looking.
Hydro Thunder!
It's very loud, so this can go down in volume a little bit. So, yeah, one-player game, arcade mode.
Choose your track.
Let's go with the Lost Island.
Choose your boat.
Now, I do really like this game. I enjoyed it on the consoles at the time. I never played the arcade version. I never saw the arcade cabinet of it, but I'm sure I would have enjoyed that too, had I? Now, it's a speedboat water-based racing game. Yeah, Wave Race is good too. Unfortunately, N64 and MAME doesn't really run well, so again, it's one I can't really stream if I'm trying to stick with MAME. If I was to try and loosen the theme a bit and not do just MAME stuff, then yeah, I'd be looking at Wave Race too. Now, I'm not very good at this anymore. I'm sure I was good at it back in the day, but these days, not so much. But yeah, you have to get your boost things that are usually above the jumps, and you have to use the boost things to improve your position. And if you'd miss the jump boosts, then you're not going to get very far. Here's a nice boost to get. Yeah, I always like games with water effects, especially, you know, transparent water that you're bouncing along on, any kind of waves splashing. It's just, I find it really relaxing. I've said before, Navy moves on the CPC, even though it's a hard game and the first level is just jumping over mines. I really liked how the water splashes around on that. Yeah, lots of games need modern sequels, don't they, that just seem to have been left behind. I think Wave Race, yeah, could do with a proper re-imaging if it's not had one. I've not really followed Nintendo systems recently though, so I can't actually tell you if it's had one or not. That probably wasn't the best. Now upside down boat. Oh no. I'm 10th. Oh dear. I mean, this could do with a real modern version as well, I think. A good modern version. Looks like I'm going to finish 8th. Oh well. Better than I did in the... Yeah, it's probably on Arcade Classics 3. It was ported in some of those packs too. That was on the Xbox, wasn't it? I don't really know what's going to happen. there. Did the GameCube get a wave race game?
Choose your track.
I did have a GameCube briefly, but I didn't have a wave race game in it. Let's be misbehaved this time. Now, I'd say some of the sound issues that just sound a bit weird. Might just be MAME's emulation. There are a few SPU emulation issues still, I believe. Hence why the drivers march is not working, because they affect some games worse than others. But, frame rate could be better, but that was the case for a lot of PlayStation games back in the day, wasn't it? Oh yeah, I also like this tunnel as well with the transparency. There's lots of impressive little details to this game, which, you know, for an arcade game, it's actually surprising to. There seems to be more depth to it than I'd expect. Is it supposed to have music? Maybe. It's only a small CD image, mind you. It's like 100 meg, so if it's meant to have audio, it's not CD audio. I really don't know. It's perfectly playable. Do you like custard to use, GP? I'm not aware of any custard racing games. Custard custard waves? Custard race? Maybe there's some circus games with custard pie. I mean, there's Food Fight. That's got pies, hasn't it? Maybe they're custard pies. Boosted and taken. 5th. Okay. Okay. So yeah, Hydra Thunder. Maybe it's meant to have some music that's not playing. You're right.
3, 2, 1.
Master Ninja, I tend to stick to MAME on my stream, so I can't run Supermodel 3 without sort of breaking theme, unfortunately. I might consider non-MAME streams in the future, but I'm trying to stick with a MAME theme. Now let's have a look at a Gaelco. This is Snowboard Championship from 1996. This one has some funky protection that was figured out a few years ago. It appears to be Gaelco's, however you want to pronounce them, their attempt to cash in on sort of the success of World Rally by doing a similar game but with a snow-based theme. So it's by OMK or Monk, I'm not sure. I think it looks like Monk, but I think that's just the OMK logo and then the word OMK. But yeah, this one was one that Peter and Morton helped to figure out the protection. It's not the Dallas protection on this one. It's a device that sort of mixes data around that gets sent to it, and it gets used for all the in-game HUD and everything else. But yeah, it seems a little buggy at times, unfortunately, and that seems quite loud. So let's turn it down. But it's not quite got the same presentation level as World Rally. Probably a different team of developers, but in terms of how it plays, yeah, it's very much a World Rally type game, but going downhill instead of uphill.
3, 2, 1.
Yes, the crowd turned into snowmen. Or snowwomen. Oh yeah, and sometimes you get confused over which is left and right. And you do that. But, it's very, very positive considering you just bashed into the fence several times. Ooh. And turning far too early. So, Oh dear. How not to play this snowboarding game. Now, Gaelco did have another snowboarding game after this. I'm not sure if I'm going to play it on stream though. If I do, actually I'll probably play it on stream, but I will probably turn the sound off on it. Looks like a Jaguar game and sounds like it too. It's very European, isn't it?
3, 2, 1.
No, I don't think I would have qualified for the championship playing like that. Must just be having a bad day. It's not too bad once you get used to it. The controls are inverted compared to what you'd think on World Rally, because you're going downhill, I guess, and it gets me every time until I get used to it. Yeah, Surf Planet was the follow-up game to this, so I will put it on briefly, but I'll probably mute the sound or turn it right down because it's just a licensed music track, which actually is quite good because it advertises the song and the record label in the attract mode. There we go, that's a far better run down the slope, wasn't it? Yeah, this is probably, I'd say this was a mid-tier Gaelco game.
Player 1, ready, 3.
It's not terrible, but they've done better games. But it's also not sort of, you know, adult game like Glass, or Glass isn't much fun. Glass, somehow they managed to make Glass. Ooh, I missed the loop. Somehow they managed to make Glass less fun between the two revisions. The first revision's got more gameplay elements, but they went away in the second revision. I don't know if they turned out to be buggy and had to remove them or something. But I can't stream Glass because it's an adult game. And there is a Korean version which is more acceptable, but that's the later revision which plays worse. Let's not miss the loop this time. There we go. Entirely realistic. And there we go. Yeah, the Jaguar controller does look like a telephone, doesn't it?
2, 1.
I'm not really sure what they were doing with the whole numeric keypad thing. I mean, there are older machines with numeric keypad style controllers, weren't there? Is it the Intellivision that's got a numeric style control pad too? Yeah, I know there was one of them at least. You don't really get any control over the tricks in this, it's just a case of staying on the course and following it properly. So again, it's very World Rally. Get the, you know, cut across the shortcuts. But it's fast, it's enjoyable. I'm sure there are plenty of people who played this and had a blast with it. Just maybe not got the same level of long-term appeal as World Rally. Yeah, it is very Gaelco or Gaelco music, isn't it? If I put target hits on, I believe that does give you the correct pronunciation of Gaelco or Gaelco or however. Yeah, I'll put that on shortly. It's not a snow game, but I will put it on just to get remember the pronunciation. It's all a bit samey as well. This doesn't really change much between levels. You get a few different elements in the courses, but you know, we've seen that tunnel, we've seen the loop. Press the wrong direction again. Not sure why they wanted to have a unique protection for this game, but they did. So in that sense we're quite lucky it's emulated, because had it not had the individual work after, as well as the Dallas games, this still wouldn't work. This required, you know, its own set of work, its own set of tests, and reverse engineering of what the results we got were. Anyway, I appear to be successfully qualifying on various courses now.
Player one.
At some point I will fail. Now you can see it's not got real transparencies or anything either, it's all, say, the cross-hatch with the pattern transparencies. This is a different type of course. Much narrower. Different soundtrack too, isn't it? So it does mix it up a little bit, but not significantly. Don't fold. I qualified again. You're not a fan of this one, Costado.
Player one.
I guess you prefer World Rally.
2, 1, go!
Yeah, I mean, I imagine they were everywhere in Spain or 09. I mean, they were sort of... They were the arcade company everybody in Spain loved because they were Spanish, weren't they? So it's like, these are our games, we're proud of them, we love them, we're going to have them everywhere. But this one, yeah, maybe it just wasn't that successful. I mean, we've seen a conversion of this to Maniac Square, although Maniac Square doesn't use the protection on it. So I guess it can't have been that popular if they were converting it to Maniac Square, because I don't imagine Maniac Square was the most popular game in the first place. Oh dear. It's possible players played it for too long. I mean, how long's this credit lasted? I still keep qualifying. There are probably different difficulty settings, but once you get the hang of it, it's
Player one. Ready?
you can just start playing it forever, basically.
2, 1, go!
I'll probably move on shortly because, yeah, there's not much else to show with it. Now, there's another very similar game I'll be looking at shortly too, but not from this company. Yeah, a little tunnel. Yeah. Now, I noticed a lot of people have been doing reviews of Codemasters Professional Ski Simulator lately. It seems to happen, and not being too favourable about that. I don't know how I'm going to look at that one myself. That was potential on my list, but the reviews tend to be, yeah, it doesn't hold up that well, even if some of us had fun with it back in the day. I have not played Toobin recently. In fact, Toobin completely escaped my mind. Okay, I'm going to quit this now because I'm doing too well at it. So let's go briefly. This isn't a game I'm going to play. I believe. There you go. Gaelco. It's very silly, isn't it? Right. Yeah, Toobin is good fun, isn't it? Should I don't know how well Toobin controls on a PC. I seem to remember it being quite an annoying one to control. Yeah. You've got your twin joystick, haven't you? Well, not so much twin joystick. What's DAQE? So yeah, right. This is also vertical. So let's just switch my view. Yeah, I may as well have a little go over this, hadn't I? So yeah, you have to navigate. You use the back pedals to push yourself. The back paddles to push yourself forward. The other ones to maneuver. It takes a little bit of a time to get used to the controls on this if you've not played it for a while. But yes, it's basically a ski gate type game, but in inner tubes. And yes, it is one of those creative games that Atari did, which was never quite done the same by anybody else. And it's got style. The music fits perfectly. It's also very frustrating at times. There we go. Sure, it's probably more fun with 2 players, but I just have to make with very cold-looking blue dude. Computer control. So, again, this is one I never actually saw in the arcades. I've already managed to lose a credit. I didn't really see that many arcade games, especially not the older ones. I never saw an version of this. In fact, I think before MAME, I wasn't even aware of this game. I knew Dizzy Down the Rapids, which is kind of obviously inspired by this, although not as good. Might put Dizzy Down the Rapids on next, actually. There we go. Yeah, we go down the waterfalls and this guy's back. And now we're in a bit of a jungle. Every time you hit one of those, you do just decrease the point value. Come on. If I wanted to get those, I'd have to go back up here, you see, probably backwards. And I keep hitting because I didn't hit. So is Toobin one of your favourites, Custado? Are you embarrassed by how badly I'm playing it? Embarrassed for me, that is. Oh dear. Now, before anybody asks, yes, there are 1 or 2 plug-and-play games on my list of potential things to play. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to them, though. Right, it does stop the other person going off the screen at times like that. But yeah, if you've followed any of the plug-and-play progress over the last few years, you'll probably know the games in question. Right, so I've used quite a few credits upon Toobin and not done especially well, but yes, that is a fun little, if not tricky to master, down the screen racing in a tube game that stands up there as its own thing, and very nice looking water effects as well. So I'm going to quit out of it now because I'm not demonstrating it well. I might come back to it another time when I've had a bit more practice on it more recently, but I did say I'd look at Dizzy Down the Rapids, so I will do that, I think. Maybe. If I can find it. Set name Dizzy Rap. And this is obviously horizontal because it's a Spectrum game. I thought I'd stretch the Spectrum display. Clearly didn't. So let's do that. And I'm pressing the wrong buttons. Take control. Play. Volume down. So yeah, Dizzy, you know, Codemaster's egg character, had many spin-off games, and this one sees him going down a river in a barrel. Not an inner tube, but a barrel. It's also, unfortunately, quite slow, which is maybe my biggest complaint with this game. But you'll see, clearly there are influences from Toobin with this one. Well, I mean, you're going down a river in something. I have to assume it's influenced by Toobin. So, got some nice little bit of music. Redefine keys, because those are really awkward keys. Quite often, if you speed up these old computers, it doesn't work too well because they're not. The speed is not tied to the V blank. It's just based entirely on how fast the machine runs. So the game just ends up too fast the more you speed it up, but the timing goes all wrong. It's not slow down in the sense that this machine's too slow to run it, it's just how it runs. Dizzy belongs to EA now. I did not know that. You see, you're going down the water, you've got a bit of momentum, avoiding the crocodiles. Fortunately, after that lovely title music as well, that's kind of it. You could throw apples. But, yeah. But this is the speed it runs at. And I think the reinterpretation of this game in the Fantastic Dizzy that I looked at the other day is far better than the Master System one. And it takes this concept but makes this fast, smooth mini game out of it. Oh yeah, of course EA did buy Codemasters, didn't they? I forgot that, but yes. I guess we'll get some terrible mobile games then or something. They'll probably just left to rot because yeah, I've forgotten how to play this. You are meant to avoid things to conserve your energy. Or you're meant to shoot them. Oh, you can shoot them. Okay, yeah, I forgot you shoot them with the apples. No. Wait, troll egg. You're playing with a real Spectrum Plus 2 Mass Ninja. A regular Plus 2 or one of the Amstrad models? I've had a Plus 2A. I think that's the Amstrad one, wasn't it? But yeah, the Spectrum's a good little machine, really. There's some excellent titles on it, and some terrible titles. This really is just a cash in on the Dizzy name, isn't it? There's not that much worth playing about it. It's not awful, but again, so slow. It's just Toobin type thing without any of the fun. In fact, it's probably more like the earlier River game, isn't it? River Patrol. Spectrum Plus 2 with Divide. Okay. Oh, okay. Oops. I mean, have you got any favourite Spectrum games, Mass Ninja? I'm guessing this isn't one of them. Yeah, Quick Snacks was great. I even quite like Panic Dizzy, even though it seemed a bit badly planned and there seemed to be too many situations where you could just end up not being able to make a good move. But yeah, at least you get a nice game over jingle when you actually game over. But yeah, there's not much to say about that one, is there? Yeah, Toobin, but slower and more basic controls. Where shall we go next? I didn't prepare that one, unfortunately. Alright, let's go. I'm sticking with non-arcades for now. The Mega Drive had a Pengo game of its own. And now it just shows Pengo like that. But Pepengo. Pengo? Ah, yes, Scuba Dive is very good. That is on my list. The problem is I don't want to obsess or focus too much on the Spectrum. As much as I love it, I know the Spectrum isn't really... You see, this also contains the original arcade Pengo as well for the Mega Drive. That's not the version we're playing for now. Let's play the story mode. Yeah, TLL is really good. That company did some other good things. For the next Maze game stream, I'm probably going to have a look at Android 2, and that's the same developer as TLL, isn't it? It's surprising how many C64 games got terrible. How many terrible ports were on the C64, really, considering it is technically far better hardware. But Bobsleigh that we looked at earlier, the C64 version of that is absolutely atrocious. Phantos, Freddy Hardest, Target Renegade, Rainbow Islands, Phantomas, After the War. So a fair selection of the Spanish games in there then, Mass Ninja. So yeah, this Pengo game has all sorts of story. Yeah, I might look at Scuba Dive. I don't know. We'll see. It is on the list. Here we go. So, look, let's see. Modern-ish Pengo game. Now, nobody ever seems to really talk about this one or play this one. So. I froze myself. It doesn't really play exactly like Pengo either. You know, you can place down blocks. It's a bit Bomberman-y actually. It's kind of a cross between Pengo and Bomberman, I'd say. Yeah, Rainbow Islands is one of those games where the 8-bit versions really are iconic, aren't they? They were go-to games for a lot of people back then. Rainbow Islands, Bubble Bobble. Even if they're not really perfect ports, and they're missing a lot of content, people just absolutely love them. I mean, I was the same with the Spectrum version of Rainbow Islands. Played so much of that one. So yeah, this is maybe the reason very few people talk about this one is because it really doesn't play much like Pengo at all. You're making the blocks to push them like they're bombs from Bomberman. But it does contain a version of the original Pengo arcade, which is kind of cool. I think this might have only been released in Japan too, which no doubt doesn't help matters. And that's the Acorn. That's Acorn. Arctic Adventure was not on my list actually. That's one where there's I think that's one where there's the bootleg arcade game. Is that the same as the Penguin game? Or am I thinking something else? Because there are a few MSX games that have fairly cheaply done bootlegs in MAME. I know the Penguin one's one. But yeah, if people, everybody watching is fine with me doing home computer games, I'll probably do some more of them. There's probably more to show, and more likely people aren't going to be aware of them if they've, used to playing arcade things in MAME. Freezing time. There we go. I mean, the ports of Rainbow Islands were very colourful, I should expect from a Rainbow game. And I guess that kind of gives you that impression that it's very arcade-like. Oh, it's a... I didn't realise that, Custado. It's surprising sometimes what people were involved in before their famous games. I mean, I mentioned that on another stream with Chris Sawyer, who did Roller Coaster Tycoon. Zypho was looking at an isometric 3D game he'd done for the Amstrad CPC on a previous stream, and yeah, I had no idea that existed. I had no idea he'd done Amstrad CPC games before, Transport Tycoon and Roller Coaster Tycoon and the like. And while it probably wasn't the best game in the world, it's somehow significant for that reason. I'm also not going to be playing Mortal Kombat. This stream is not sponsored by Sub-Zero. I thought I'd better get that out there for now. Yeah, this is okay. It just requires you to think and play it differently to Pengo. It's really not very Pengo-like, as I keep saying. So sorry. I mean, I'm not the biggest Mortal Kombat fan. I try to play it. I just can't get back into them. Antarctic Adventure. Shall I play another level of this and move on? There we go. I played the level of it. But yeah, is this a boss? We have a boss fight. Oh. I guess I make blocks and push them at the boss, don't I? Well, there's a lot of anchors under the water here. And no, I mean, it is quite logical. It's definitely not the first thing somebody's going to create. The fact that the other game is also isometric just kind of show you the idea of creating isometric games was always there as well. So it must be important in that sense. You know, the game, if somebody's learning how to do isometric programming and there really works a computer game that's an isometric, and their most famous game that's later is an isometric game. So I do like to see that type of thing. This is quite a slow-paced boss battle, isn't it? MAME-tality. Does that involve Sub-Zero turning into an 8-bit version of Sub-Zero? Or getting put inside an arcade cabinet inside an arcade game, Golden Axe style? Let's beat this part. I think the next one's probably not even snow related, so at that point I can happily move on. I thought this boss takes a lot of hits. How many? Got a bit of slowdown in this game too. That's surprising. It's a Pengo type game. It shouldn't have slowdown. And apparently anchors hurt. Who would have thought? I hope that doesn't reset the whole progress in the boss fight. Antarctic Adventure is also a Colecovision. Tell you what, I'll put Antarctic Adventure on next, or I'll try to. Yeah, I might try the Coleco version, see how that runs. There we go, the boss has been beat. So yeah, it looks like the next world is Dino World. Okay, it's still got ice blocks, but it's definitely not so icy now, is it? It's more volcano-y and dinosaur-y. Okay, anyway. So is this the one I'm thinking of? How do I start it? I think this is the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, it's the one I'm thinking of, the penguin one, yes. So here we go. Yeah, there's a version of this in MAME. It was bootlegged as an arcade game, although stupidly enough it still tells you to press space at times. Yeah. MSX had Microsoft involvement, yeah. Though MSX wasn't really a system as such, it was a design for a system. It's a bit like saying a PC, which is why MAME doesn't have a driver called MSX, you know, one to load. Because it has all the individual types of MSX machines using the original system names, which is one reason I didn't load the MSX version, because I can't remember them. It's one of those where I have to research which MSX system runs the game best and choose that one first, and that requires off-stream work. So from this to Metal Gear. Maybe not the most logical of progressions, but yeah, it's a cute little penguin game. So there we go, we've reached the end. Australia. Anyway, yeah, there's bootleg versions in MAME. It is the game I thought it was. There's several versions, in fact. So let's load this one up. Is this the one? How do I start it? So it says press space, but I think it just means insert coin and press fire. I can't place the music either, Ryan. So this is... No, this isn't the game I was thinking of. This is a prequel or a sequel? There is one of the there is one of the more snowy versions in MAME too. This isn't so snowy. Okay, I think there's other things in MAME. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking for at the moment. I'd have to research that a bit off stream. Right. I'm doing a bad job of sticking with arcade games, aren't I? Right, Aqua Rush was mentioned earlier. So let's have a look at Aqua Rush, the Namco puzzle game. And this is one where I'm going to turn the sound down a fair bit, simply because it's Namco sound, and it seems safer to turn it down a bit. So it's there in the background, but I'll be talking over it. Right, this is a bubbly underwater puzzle game. And yeah, I really like it. I can't remember who it was mentioned it in the chat, but yeah, it's a really good game, this one. It's sort of like a block hole, but underwater, filling in the shapes. So, maybe a bit too quiet. So there we go. Stage 1, ready. So, you know, you make the shape, that falls down there. You can set up chains if you're good at it. But yeah, you change the shape of the piece that's you're pushing, you've got, so that it fits the gaps that's in front of it. It's a unique puzzle game. I don't think there's any other puzzle game with this mechanic. So again, that's kind of what I go for with puzzle games. I'll look at the ones that have got unique mechanics, and they're the ones I play. And this is one of those. There you go, a little bit of a combo. Oh, not done the best there. But, this is another reason I'd like to see System 10 emulated, is because Namco typically did good puzzle games. And System 10 is a platform with lots of puzzle games on. I think that really needs somebody to sit down and extensively study the code and look what it's waiting for, because the System 10 games, they should be decrypted at this point, but they still bring up sort of nondescript blue error messages, or just don't go anywhere after the warning screen for Mr. Driller 2, which is slightly different hardware, but still a system based board. I guess it's a protection thing, but I can't imagine it being possible to figure out from the code. But you'd have to really like the PlayStation assembly, I suppose. And it's not always that nice studying the assembly code of the more modern systems. It's doable, but not everything's as obvious as you might think. So, yeah. I'm surprised more people haven't copied this, and this seems like prime material for Korean companies to create their own versions of, but I've not seen any. Ooh, not perfect that. Yes, the shapes do become a little phallic, don't they, Costado? Yeah, it is a shame in Namco, but if I keep... I've noticed that basically the only way I can do them is if I turn the volume right down and keep talking, so that it's mainly my voice and not Namco's music, which is a bit of a shame. I can hear just about the bubbles and everything going off in the background in my headphone, which helps play it, but it does make it slightly not quite as good for streamers. Same with Konami music games, you can't do them without ending up with your streams muted, and that's not really what you want, is it? It's getting quite bad. Even some of the 8-bit soundtracks on the Spectrum, apparently some streamers are struggling with these days. They're in databases. Let's get that there. See, that one is definitely or what you said. It extended very quickly. I'm sure GP will appreciate that. Maybe this is GP the game based on, you know, what we've heard in various other places. I have to ask Zypho to try it one time and ask him if it reminds him of GP. I don't know if this got PS1 port. I think it was quite late for the arcades, 99, so a lot of the stuff in the arcades at this point started to get more Dreamcast ports than PlayStation 1 ports, because it was a little bit after the PlayStation market, or maybe even PS2 ports. I don't know if this got ported. And if it did, I don't think it got left in Japan. Plus, these were slightly upgraded PlayStations. They weren't regular PlayStation hardware at this point. They had more powerful CPUs, so direct ports sometimes were a bit tricky. There we go. No ports at all. I think there's a lot of the System 10 games in the same bucket, aren't there, where there weren't proper ports of them, which is again another reason why it's kind of important to, at some point, I think, we emulate that system and just make sure there's nothing else needs extracting from the boards, because it could be there's protection related stuff that's important inside the Namco customs, which we need to discover, and I appear to have failed. So there you go, an underwater Namco puzzle game that is actually a lot of fun. And yeah, I do recommend playing that one, especially if you want the full sound experience. Shall we stick with Aqua, not Barbie Girl Aqua, Water Aqua, and play Aqua Jack from Taito. Controls are going to annoy me. Oh, we'll do the best we can. Oh, no problem, Ryan. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But yeah, it's I think it's one I noticed at the start of the alphabet. But yeah, definitely play it, and I think you will really enjoy it because it's top quality Namco. So thank you for joining in the stream, and hope you get some sleep, and you know, see you another day. So yeah, this is one of the Taito Z system shooters. This is, you know, the hardware Chase HQ ran on. A bit more shooty, and better than Hydra, which is a shooty boat game, which for some reason is also not on my list. How did I miss Hydra? It's a fast button. So, you know, this is kind of a mix of boat racing and Operation Thunderbolt, but not light gun. I'm not really sure. So that, yeah, that's. You played this in Rotterdam back in the day. I guess Taito Games did get good distribution. My people appear to be being well distributed too, after, you know, sailing into landmines. Water mines. Well, definitely not landmines. But yeah, I like the fake reflection effect this one's got going on. It's sort of a line-scrolling reflection effect that's just mirroring what's at top with a different palette. It's very effective. Okay. And it's not the only watery type. Yeah, I guess. Did Rotterdam have a lot of big arcades? This game's hard. I'm really bad at it. He's trying to control too many things at once. Controlling my boat and the crosshair, and with the same, it's the same controls, so it's not like you control the crosshair separately. But you do have to watch where you're driving and not drive into all these things that get dropped. It's probably easier on a cabinet, to be fair. Hey Man Shovel, thanks for joining. How you doing? Have you recovered from the antics of last night and you know, the quiz games and all the very British questions that were massively unfair? Okay, 3 arcades. That's not bad, really, is it? 3 arcades. So here we go. Now the water effect looks even more convincing here because I think it's blue. Yeah. It's also got this turbo button that's very Chase HQ like. I think it's turbo one. This seems to make me go faster. But it is the same hardware as Chase HQ, so maybe that's not surprising. Oh, I pressed the Windows key. That's not good. So yeah, I think this is better than Hydra at least. Yeah, most arcades have disappeared. I mean, we didn't really have any proper ones that I remember here, but even the few places that did have arcade machines now just have, you know, gambling games. And sort of just the evolution of them, isn't it? So, yeah. I don't know what I think about this game. Technically it seems okay, but try to just have games that are a lot more fun. It's just a bit mindless shoot and dodge with a river as the novelty. Yeah, boats versus jets is probably how this would turn. They're very low flying jets too. I'm just going to go on the ground. There we go. I don't need no river. Let's turn into outrun. Well, out of river run. Chase HQ's definitely got more intensity to it because you're chasing down the other car. This is just a casual boat ride with everything shooting at you. I know what I could play. Probably shouldn't play. It's terrible. Anybody up for a terrible game next? I thought so. Oh dear, Kate won't be happy if she reads that. I don't think she'll be reading that though. I think you're safe. I think your secret's safe on here. Right. So yeah, let's put something terrible on. Here is Noah's Ark by Endertech. This is a game in a mini cabinet for kids. Of course you have to suffer more terrible games, Man Shovel. It wouldn't be one of my streams if you didn't. Now, this game, for a Noah's Ark game, probably doesn't have that much water, but look, you find an animal. You take them to the boat that looks like a house, I think. Or do you? And then you take another one. Or you do something with them. In fact, I'm not sure what you do with them. That one's gone in there. You see, that one's gone in. And that one's gone in. There we go. I have a set of kangaroos or something. Now, there is water. That sounds like a war zone. Some camels, just, you know, casually here. Some elephants. But, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Look, there's some water. And it keeps getting higher. Look, the water is increasing on the side there. So it will start to catch up with me. There we go, you see, now it's starting to flood. So, you know, I'd better get this this thing back to the Ark. I don't know. Kangaroo. I missed the unicorn. The unicorn can drown. But, yeah, this is obviously not the greatest game in the world, but it was made for kids. Not many arcade games were specifically made for kids. Oh, I can't rescue the other one. It's also drowned. So if you're trying to get the ones at the bottom, there's a chance of... Yeah, there's the unicorn. But it's gone. Let's just take the camel. I'm not going to play this for... There was literally a unicorn. I saw it and it flashed and went away. I don't really know if you can rescue the unicorn or if it's a trick. I can rescue camels though. Come on, camel. Noah wants to take you to his big animal house with no windows apart from, you know, the ones at the top that unless you're a giraffe you can't see out of. I saw Texie did a review of the Spectrum version of Puffy Saga, and the Spectrum version is really ugly. I thought I owned it on the Spectrum, but I clearly owned it on the Amstrad back in the day, because the Spectrum version is not. There's that unicorn flashing again, and the unicorn flashes behind the arc too. I'm starting to wonder if Noah's taken something. Let's get more zebras up here. Once I've taken these zebras in, I think I'm just going to call it quits, because yeah, there are many bad games based on the Bible. Shall we not play that one anymore? Shall we play a different one? Shall we play one that's actually quite good? By Konami. Noah's Ark. On the NES. Look, it's got a bunny. I almost played this on the bunny stream. But you're just rescuing the bunny. You don't see much of the bunny. There's the bunnies. Look, the cute bunnies. Now this is one of the few games to use the NES colour emphasis effect, which is used for the water, which basically just makes it blue, and it uses a raster effect to split the palette. So at that point in the screen, it just sets that palette mode and sort of turns everything that bluey grayscale colour. Now, to start with, Noah shoots in random directions, which is really, really annoying. But there are power-ups so that Noah does not shoot in random directions. But yeah, this is one of those NES games that did not get released in the US because it's based on religion, and Nintendo had policies against that in the US. It did get released in Europe though. And you know what? It's actually not too bad. I mean, it's a Konami platform game. It's just very difficult. I actually quite enjoyed it whenever I played it. What's the light gun shooter? Am I missing something? Oh god, this game is utter poop. This one's not. I mean, Lemmings. Was it the Mega Drive version of Lemmings he was reviewing? Because I had that. I think I've still got it over there. It's quite enjoyable. It's got those exclusive Sunsoft levels. It's got a very buggy two-player mode that you can glitch the whole game out with, as we did many times. I can't remember how you glitch it out actually. I think if you steal the other person's lemmings too much, it can't count as many lemmings as go in and just goes all completely messed up. Yeah, but yes, you can really glitch the two-player mode on Lemmings on the Mega Drive. But yeah, in terms of games based on anything religious, I actually think this is one of the better ones. As long you could probably say more modern games like God of War, but that's not quite the same, is it? It's more based on mythology than religion. Only cute animals. Yeah, this is true. Noah has been very violent here, killing all the insects. But I'm mainly playing this because I wanted to mention the water effect too, which is a bit of an odd technique to be using on a NES game. Also, it doesn't work the same between the different versions of the PPU. So if you use the colour effect on the same effect parameters on a NTSC machine, you get different colours. You have to go back to the start of the level when you die, which is really harsh. It means I'm probably never going to complete the stage on stream. Cuso Grande. That sounds about right. There are bad game tournaments all the time. Marp have a few arcade ones. now and again, just the crap game tournament things. But yeah, people do like their bad games, don't they? Apparently we're still... No, I better do an arcade game. Let's go with Atari's Freeze. Now, this is listed as a prototype. It's one of the Jaguar-based games, but with a MIPS CPU, not a 68K. But this board actually shows quite often. I'm not sure it's as prototypey as we think. I think it may have even been released in Japan, because the Japanese version, it seems to be almost made for the Japanese market, and it does show up quite often. So I'm not really sure what the full story is, but it's emulated in MAME. It's a puzzle game. Fairly basic one, with lots of pre-rendered graphics. At least it's better use of the Jaguar hardware than, you know, Area 51. You know, you throw fish up and you make lines. It's kind of like Puzzly, but more standard, and you're not fishing, you're just throwing fish up. In fact, Puzzly wasn't on my list either, but I have played Puzzly on another stream, so I don't really need to play Puzzly. Although Puzzly is very good. But yeah, very, very basic puzzle game, this one. One game I did want to play that can't play is Wetris on the Dreamcast. But again, MAME doesn't really emulate anything Dreamcast related. But Wetris, if you've not played it, is a fun puzzle game. If you happen to have a Dreamcast emulator. And I think even the Korean game, I think it's Korean, Aquarium is better than this.
Next time.
That sounds like quite a game. Man Shovel? Yeah, visually this is impressive, but gameplay wise, it's just very ordinary. I'm surprised this wasn't released on the Jaguar. But probably wouldn't have sold any systems. Then again, they say the processor on this is different to the Jaguar. It uses the MIPS processor, not the 68K. But it does show the Jaguar could produce nice, colourful graphics if it wanted to. But yeah, there's just... I'm sure Atari could have come up with some better game mechanics here, apart from just everything freezing every now and again, messing you up because you know it all becomes frozen, and then I don't know. What? Line them up, copycat. I mean, you can't swap pieces. You just throw in one thing at a time. There's just nothing to it apart from choose where you want this piece to go, and Bionic Commando for the NES. Oh, the NES version of Bionic Commando has you do that, does it? I was not aware of that. I have played plenty of Bionic Commando, just not the NES version. And yeah, this is where I lose, probably. Maybe? Is this it? So this is Atari's Freeze, yes. I don't. There's not much else to say about this. I'm just going to probably lose now. I'm not getting the strategy. I like puzzle games, but this is... yeah. Snow games. Yes, Alpine Racer by Namco. Alpine Racer I think is probably going to be very difficult to control. So I'm probably going to skip Alpine Racer. Slalom, NES. I think we should also say versus NES as well, wasn't it? That is on my list. That's another rare one, I believe. Yeah, rare. So this is the arcade version of Slalom versus Slalom for the Nintendo Versus system. Yeah, the arcade Bionic Commando just isn't a very good game. It's badly programmed and very buggy. You can break the game in various ways quite easily. I think Zypho did break it on one of his streams, actually. The Japanese version, Top Secret's even worse. It's almost like, it doesn't feel quite like a finished game. Yes, this is one of those smooth NES games. I don't think the raster effect is quite right in MAME, but yeah. Smooth into the screen games. A good sense of speed. Good animation. This was also hacked up for quite a few plug-and-play devices. I've got one with an actual snowboard controller that's running a hacked-up version of this game. It's not dumped, unfortunately, because it was a single... Well, I think it was all globs, nowhere to connect to. I don't think it was single glob, but it might have been. I think that one was packaged up and sent to Sean already, though. But yeah, it's this game with a reskin. Yeah, I think a lot of people had this on the NES. I mean, I played a lot of Bionic Commando on the Spectrum Man Shovel, and even I think I prefer the Spectrum version over the arcade version. It's just one of those arcade games where you play it and you go, oh, yeah, there's better versions of this game. I'll have to spend a bit more time in the NES one. The rearm thing on the PlayStation 3 was meant to be good, wasn't it? But then they also released the 3D game that wasn't. On the 3D game's the one that got released on disc, and rearmed was digital only, and for some reason I thought rearmed was bonus content in the 3D one, and bought the 3D one and then realised it wasn't, and just had a game that wasn't much fun. But we make mistakes. I'll have to have a look at Bionic Commando in another game. I guess it's still a platform game. Another stream. Because I do need to do a platform game stream at some point. Though again, that's probably not going to be that arcade focused because there aren't many arcade platform games. But yeah, I'd probably have to note down to look at the NES Bionic Commando then. Because it's one I do want to check out for myself at some point. Because I've heard good things about it. Yeah, Rearmed is a remaster. It's still a platform game. You've got your kind of jump with your claw, don't you? It's just not a jump that's under your control. So yeah, this is alright. Makes the NES look like a nice platform, a good platform. And Nintendo obviously felt it was worthy to have an arcade release on the Versus cabinet. Yeah, remastered isn't always used correctly, is it? It's not a remaster. We're getting conflicting opinions here. It looks like a remaster, but to me, if it's a remaster, it would have to really share the same level designs mostly. This suddenly got a lot busier, didn't it? Anyway, I'll probably complete this course, then move on to another game. We are on our 2 hours 20 minutes, and I'm probably going to make this a 3-hour stream. Although there's enough content for another stream. There's lots more Spectrum games that I've not looked at all. Scuba Dive was mentioned, Hydrofall, which is a great game just for the music alone. The most underwater music I can think of in a game, to be honest. I'm not going to do Mermaid Madness, that's not the best game. Where should we go? I do want to do a plug and play game after this, yeah. Pardon me. Rearmed has different levels and enemies. Yeah, the claw is very limited in the arcade Bionic Commando. Bionic Commando's original title, you mean Top Secret or Bionic Commandos with the S? because it was I think it had an S in it, and then there's a bootleg with the S, and I don't know. Anyway, that was Slalom, which I failed on the 3rd level, which was called Skid Row. Not the cracking group Skid Row. Anyway, where shall we go? I had something in mind that I've immediately... plug and play. Right, so Radica released the Play TV SSX Snowboarder. Now this is one of 3 things they released. Up, down, left, right. So you just got your directions and you control it with that. So let's reset actually. You get your Zavix logo. And you get your Radica logo. EA Sports logo. I think this might need turning a bit. So let me just take the slider up. Zavix is quite quiet. So there we go. Play TV SSX Snowboarder. Press enter. So yeah, this is a curious one. You select your type of track. Yeah, the Zavix emulation is not perfect, but hold back to enter. Because this was a board you actually stood on. It's got the licensed characters and everything else. Got the Simon. I'm not in any of those cracking groups, but you know, I do the MAME stuff. That kind of occupies all my time for that type of anything like that. So yeah, this is actually quite good use of the Zavix plug and play hardware. I was very surprised to find out that this was original Zavix, not like one of the Super Zavix versions, because they're using all the rose scroll effects. They've got a very convincing scaling effect going on. So yeah, this one actually impressed me. Especially when you consider the previous Radica snowboard game, which was also on Zavix hardware, the same hardware as this, but looks much worse. We'll probably look at that one in a minute. EA even gave them the SSX license for this, so it's kind of an oddity in the SSX game list in that sense, because you know most SSX games are big productions on better systems. But here you've got EA licensing it out for plug and play. Obviously you've got some sounds that are associated with SSX, the tricky stuff there. And the meter was full. Okay, got lots of the snowflakes that time. Got that. Bit of turbo speed. You know, this is not actually bad. Especially you get a decent board to stand on if you don't break it. I used to pirate N-Gage games. I have never even had an N-Gage. I think we could do with emulating N-Gage at some point, but it's is it J2ME based, and I think all the emulators for it that exist or people have started on were HLE based. Quit. You see, the Star Wars plug and play is on the newer hardware type, so it actually has hardware scrolling. This doesn't have hardware scaling, so they're not scrolling, scaling. This is all software scaled in, you know, pre-scaled. Goofy style. Is Coke and vodka really a thing over here? Yes, definitely, absolutely. Coke and vodka is a very standard drink to have if you go out. Very standard indeed. But no, the Zavix hardware has no hardware scaling at all. The early Sunplus hardware has no hardware scaling at all. Only those later Sunplus platforms have hardware scaling. Even the later Zavix platform doesn't have hardware scaling. The Super Zavix uses the same sprites as the old Zavix. It's just got bitmap modes and high resolution backgrounds that mix in with the lowest, but it's a bit of a mess. But Yeah, it's only when you get to those GPL 16250 hardware you get some plus with actual hardware scaling. I think it might be why eventually most things switched to Sun Plus, because the Zavix technology, as good as it was when it first came out, didn't really add a lot of the features that people needed. Yeah, this is an enjoyable game. Now this did also get re-released without the SSX license, amazingly. I guess Radica still wanted to sell the boards but no longer had the license. But it lost all the SSX theming entirely in that version. Yeah, rum and coke's better, or bourbon and coke. But vodka and coke is very, very standard. I mean, to be fair, I think we'll mix anything with anything here. So, yeah, just call it a cocktail and be done with it. Red Bull and vodka is also very common. Or not usually proper Red Bull, whatever cheap energy drink they can give you. There we go. So yeah, that was the SSX snowboarder game. I will quickly look at snowboarder. Now, SBW. This is the re-release of the game without the SSX license, so you basically got the same, but it's just called Play TV Snowboarder now. And you can see everybody's kind of lost their SSX themes. The game's lost the names of the SSX events. The characters have got more generic names. Rufus, Mason, and DJ.
Sweet.
And the courses. And it still says Goofy Foot. So they put considerable work into reissuing the game, just with much more generic theme. Half a pint of Pernod, half a pint of vodka, a quarter pint of vodka, topped up with blackcurrant and coke. I mean, to be fair, I've currently got a cheap beer mixed with pineapple, banana, and coconut juice, so you know it's not too bad, is it? People turn their head away in disgust now. Well, you know, turn off the stream because they want to know. But yeah, this is the same game without the SSX license, so. It's got basically everything that could be identified as SSX taken out of it. But as I said, this isn't really the focus. The course is the same, so you've seen this with the other skin. But before that, Radica did release on the same hardware. This is still a Zavix-based board, which for some reason does the Zavix logo after the Radica board. That's been awesome. This was This was like 3 years earlier. Same hardware. And let's be polite here. This is much more primitive. You would not think this was the same hardware. Sparks. You see, this looks more like Kyle Hodges does snowboarding. Shall we have a look at a Kyle Hodges game next? Everybody loves Kyle Hodges games. But yeah, this is the older snowboarder game. And it is a lot more primitive. So again, very similar looking board. In fact, both this and the non-SSX brand white, the one SSX white snowboard one, are both called Radica Play TV Snowboarding. This one's got a blue snowboard. The SSX one without the license has a white snowboard, and the SSX one itself has SSX all over it, so you know exactly what it is. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad software. It's just the other version is so much better. it's passable. At least it's not just a a rip of the slalom game like the other snowboard thing I bought, which had a big, chunky, heavy, well-built snowboard, but just the bootleg NES game in it. GP pot noodle. I have like 12 pot noodles because Iceland were doing 12 for £6, and I don't get out doing any shopping these days, so it's like, yeah, I'll get 12 pot noodles. A mix of chicken and mushroom and Bombay Bad Boy. I'll probably mix those and see how they taste. Or, I'll put the soy sauce in the Bad Boy ones and the Bad Boy sauce in the other ones, and then throw in some extra hot sauce. There we go. Or some grapefruit hot sauce. No, that's probably just very weird in any kind of pot noodle. That's sad, is it? Anyway, where are we going now? Where are we going now? I could be Horace and go skiing. Let's be Horace and go skiing. Maybe. Oop, that's not fine. Now, these games, a lot of streamers don't want to cover them anymore because it's an example of how not to use an IP when you buy it up, and how to alienate your entire fan base who might actually be somewhere interested in buying your new games. But we won't go into that. Let's just go skiing. And yes, don't get run over. It starts with a basically Frogger knockoff. Go and get your skis and cross the road again. Very busy road. I think we must be skiing in Italy because this reminds me of Italian roads. And don't crash into trees. And do go through the... Lucky ski's still okay. Okay. Yeah, if you miss the flag, you lose your points. Now, this is one of those classic Spectrum games with a non-distinct blue blob called Horace, who appears to have had his eyes poked out or something. I don't really know. But, yeah, it's one most people who had a Spectrum would have had as one of those games you sort of played before you got any other games. And as such, I think some people have fond memories of it, or at least did, until, recent events. The skis are broken. I did play Toobin a bit earlier, and I even played Dizzy Down the Rapids Man Shovel. I didn't do very well at Toobin, but I did have a look at it. So I won't be playing Toobin again on this stream. I might play Toobin again on another stream. But it has been played for today. Yeah, there is quite a death scream on this game. It's not bad for, 1-bit sound, is it? Because this is an original Spectrum without the AY chip. Unfortunately, I'm clearly not very good at skiing. I am pressing the wrong direction all the time. But, yes. Come on, dear. I'd probably be even worse at actual skiing. I'm one of those people who would definitely break a leg if I went skiing. Now, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned a game you've mentioned in previous streams, Manshovel, because it kind of fits the theme here. And I'm quite willing to play either the arcade version or the NES version if you remember which game it is. Ambulance fee $10. Toobin was too bad. Or was my play? Maybe this is great too, yeah. I didn't do very well on Toobin. You're not missing much. I mostly credit fed a little bit, and I think I'm trying to get myself killed running in front of trucks. Skiing is only half the challenge. I'm sure you mentioned Blades of Steel a few times. Or am I Am I getting you confused with somebody else, man shovel? Now, Blades of Steel would fit the theme. It's got ice in it. So I might look at Blades of Steel. Maybe the arcade version, maybe the NES version. I want to see if I can at least get to the bottom of this course on Horace first, though, but we'll see. I know I could as a kid, but I'm no longer a kid. I'm not dedicating as much time to learning how to dodge in and out of the... Yes, I did play it briefly during March, but that was just a bit of a distraction from what I was doing at the time. You know, a bit of a tangent of distraction, I'm using the wrong words. Oh dear. Horace is very big. If you've noticed, he's pretty much the size of the cabin on the trucks. So I'm not surprised there's nobody else on the ski slopes. They're probably terrified of this blue thing going down them. Also, I did complete I did complete one run, so technically I can quit. There we go. Yeah, let's have a look at Blades of Steel on the NES. What's the set name? Blade STLU. So yeah, Konami's Blades of Steel for the NES. Oh, nice sampled speech. Not heard of that one, Gangrel. What type of game's that?
Blades of Steel.
Let's just play an exhibition. Junior should be easy. I'm liking the presentation on this one. Some of the Panzer Dragoon games have got a lot of water into, haven't they? I am thinking of doing a complete list of games with ice and water themes, and just for individual levels. Oh, Lagoon is the game. It's an RPG. RPGs, I'd probably have to dedicate a stream to if I wanted to play one, because otherwise you're just going to see a lot of introduction and getting the game started, and not much gameplay. I think this plays better than the arcade. I think this is another Bionic Commando situation. Yeah, there are a few RPGs I'd quite like to look at some point, but they do require really a dedicated stream for them. But yeah, I think this version looks and plays better than the actual arcade Man Shovel. Well, you know, I'm always open to playing different versions, and I've seen the arcade one a bit, so I wanted to check out this one. And again, I think that's the same for a lot of people who use MAME. They'll have seen the arcade version maybe, but might not have seen the NES version. And it's always good to show cases where the NES versions or the console ports, computer ports are better or have something to offer, because a lot of people seem to just think the arcade's be all and end all for things, and that's always the ultimate version, and it's not always the ultimate version. So this has even got decent speech. I was not expecting the NES version to have speech. I know the arcade version's got a lot of speech, but this actually, I think this probably sounds a bit better. Although that was quite funny. Oh dear, I'm not doing very well there. I've not played Ice Climber yet. No, I could have a look at Ice Climber. There is a versus version of that Nintendo put out for the arcades. Right, well, Montreal aren't doing very well. Chicago are doing better. Yeah. I've not actually played that many of the sports games either. But, I like how smooth this all is. It doesn't flicker too badly either, considering there's all these players. I think there's a little bit of it. Oh, there we go. I actually scored one. The puck went into the back of the net. Which means the Hawks. I know nothing about hockey. This is on easy as well, so you can play Gradius between the second and third period. Ooh. Is that a cheat code, or does it just do it automatically? Ooh, there we go. Locked it. So, I've not played Hit the Ice yet either, if we're talking ice hockey, or Sega's terrible slap shooter. And I'm not sure I'm going to get to the second or third period, because I'm just looking at this briefly. If I'm winning, well, I don't think that's going to happen then. At least not this. I might have to practice this off the stream and have a look at that.
Face off.
Face Off. Oh, there's actually a game called Face Off that I forgot as well. So I think Face Off was one of the Namco ones. Why did I miss that off the list? There we go. I like that it's got that arrow showing you where you're going to hit it to. That's handy. It's no, I'm not too far behind. Only one behind. I've been in worse positions. So yeah.
Face off.
I've not seen the movie called Face Off to my knowledge. Although Face Off could have many different meanings. Is the movie even related to ice hockey, or is it more like, oh, I've just stolen your face? Go. Oh, it's a Nicolas Cage movie, is it? Maybe I have seen it though. I've seen quite a few Nicolas Cage movies because somebody I dated a few years ago was really obsessed with Nicolas Cage, so maybe I've seen it without realising. More the latter. Figures.
Face off.
Actually, was Face Off Gaelco? I don't remember now. Oh, I'm now in the lead. I'm only going to play till the end of this quarter though, so probably no Gradius. Because these games can go on a little bit otherwise, can't they? But Montreal have taken the lead.
Face off.
Actually, it's not too bad once you actually work out how to score, is it? You start to learn how to play the games. Late 90s movie, the Face Off is literally so you know, a bit like that part in Game of Thrones too. Well, that's not really surgical, but there's some face changing going on, isn't there? Oh, we've got a proper fight. There we go. The ref just dragging him to the side. Okay, and that's probably the end of that quarter, isn't it? Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. Oh. I'm not good at remembering faces and actors that well. I mean, Nicolas Cage is an easy one. But, so there we go. And I didn't do too bad, but I'm not going to play another quarter of that. The best part is the loser goes into the penalty box. Nice. So somebody mentioned Liquid Kids scrolling up. Bob, you mentioned Liquid Kids. Yes, Liquid Kids is definitely one I need to play. I think I did look at it on another stream, but yes, Liquid Kids, if you're talking games with water, absolute classic. Oh, and the volume needs to come down a little bit. In fact, I should have turned it down before the NES game, but okay. Never mind. So, here we go. We're using lots of water. Big bubbles of water. that you can charge. So if you hold down the button, it charges a bigger bubble of water, and that explodes into more water. Pardon me. Now, clearly this is influenced in some ways by the whole water mechanic in Bubble Bobble, I'd say. Because you do have the water bubbles that explode and the water cascades down, and this is very similar in that sense. You've never played Liquid Kids, Bob? Liquid Kids is, you know, one of those all-time classic Taito games. It's right up there with the Bubble Bobble series, New Zealand Story, and that lot. It's a very good game. You use your bubbles to turn things into almost like frozen enemies, but I guess they're not really frozen. This makes me think, does Pang count? But Pang isn't splooshy enough. If the bubbles in Pang popped and revealed water, then Pang would absolutely be on the list here, but unfortunately they don't. But, yeah, you've got your water wheel here, look. You spin it round, make it go faster, and it actually pushes you back. There's the same mechanic in a Bionic Commando level, is there? Okay. I'll have to keep that in mind. Well, I would say I am going to... I don't like Green Dog that much, Man Shovel. It's one of those Mega Drive games that I kind of got... this is all style over substance. So if you expect a really good soundtrack on Green Dog, and it doesn't deliver. At least, not in my opinion. It's not a favourite. I mean, if we're talking Mega Drive water games, obviously the Echo games, but they're a bit boring. At least they're a bit boring to watch. And I don't know what I'm doing on the Echo games for the most part. Watery Pang, yeah, that could have potential. Maybe there is a Watery Pang, I just don't know about it. Ooh. Lots of ideas have been done somewhere, just maybe not on any of the consoles that are emulated. Ooh. But, yeah. This Taito platform game, isn't it, really? With unique characters. And I'm not really sure what I'm meant to be. And I think we got to the boss fight last time I played it. Because I did play this on a stream before, yeah, and we got to the boss fight. I think we got a bit further, actually. But, we've got a bouncing bunny now. Who's a fiery bunny. Now, obviously water puts out fire a lot too, so I was thinking of doing another game with lots of fire in it. But that's moving to the SNES. I wouldn't know if there's an ending if you get to level 99 in panic mode. I guess you could find out with cheats, but maybe you don't want to find out that way. Soft spot due to nostalgia. Yes, I have many games like that, Man Shovel. I mean, if you ask me, Balls on the Mega Drive is a really good, enjoyable game, but most people will tell you Balls on the Mega Drive is an unplayable mess that nobody should ever be subjected to because it's the equivalent of, you know, waterboarding or something like that. It's you know, that's how bad most people think Balls is, but I quite enjoy it for nostalgia reasons. Now, behold the umbrella. Ultimate defense against me throwing water at you. Fire and Ice Solomon's Key 2 was on my list. Probably not going to get time for that one this week. I said SNES is the one I was thinking of though. Just have fire in the title. Which is probably a big clue. This is a very wet, watery game, isn't it? Guzzler. I've got that down as potential on the next Maze game stream. Guzzler. But, yeah, how many lives have I got left? I think this is the last life, isn't it? I think I started doing badly here last time I played this too. In fact, I think I died the exact same way the first time I played this game on a previous stream. But yeah, Liquid Kids, yeah, good fun one. So I will go with the SNES game. The SNES game is by Human, and it is called, not Human Entertainment, that's not what it's called. It is called The Firemen. I believe there was also a sequel to this on the PlayStation, but this is one where water, much like in the previous game, is your weapon. The year is 2010. Okay. Yes, this is an interesting game. Now, Sega had Brave Firefighters, the arcade game, which is also a game all about fighting fires, and of course there was the Saturn one, which its name is escaping me off. So it's a concept that's been done in other ways, in other places. But yeah, this is one of those classic use water, put out fire games. Flood is a nice wet game. The problem is, say, every Amiga game I've tried in MAME has failed, and our Atari ST emulation doesn't work at all. So those are not on my list of ones to try. I could give Flood a try off stream, but I rate the chance of it working as about like 2% based on, you know, my findings of Amiga compatibility. The doors are locked. But yes, this is a shoot 'em up against fire, really, isn't it? A scrolling, multi-directional, anti-fire shoot 'em up. But I like the transition effect, which is like an eye opening, closing between the scenes too. Yes, very satisfying putting out the fire. Now, I want to know if there are any games where you play as a fire, setting things on fire, rather than putting out fires. The only way to get there is by walking through the river. Yeah, this game is fun. Is it one of those that's now ridiculously expensive too, like so many things? I've not played the PlayStation sequel. I don't know if that's fun too. But yeah, this one, nice use of the SNES hardware too. I mean, you've got your blending effects going on. It's one of those that, if it had been on the Mega Drive, definitely wouldn't have looked as good, because it just used some effects that the Mega Drive couldn't do properly. Let's go to the toilets. I think somebody had a very hot curry. That's probably how the fire started. So, yeah, let's keep going. It's usually pretty difficult to set a bathroom on fire otherwise, I have to say. Where am I going? I've got to go up there. Got to look at the radar and know where you're going. So, yeah. Are you okay? There might be some people in the meeting room. The story does slow it down a little bit, but you know. Even managed to have bosses. I paused it. Yes. I mean, these developers will find ways to put bosses into everything, won't they? Despite the fires, the escalators are still working. Well, they must be very well built escalators. Where are we going? Oh dear. It's got that sort of bendy laser feel to it as well, hasn't it? Like Raiden 2 with the water. And obviously, if you're talking water games, Super Mario Sunshine that was mentioned earlier is a big one. But again, not one I can play. That's not where I'm going in this one, unfortunately. How do I get to the other rooms? It's been ages since I played this game. I've forgotten how to navigate this map. That's not good, is it? So I can't go up here. Oh yeah, I can go up here if I do that. Oh, I'm missing. I don't know. I've forgotten how to play this. It's been too long, and I've not set it up on pad either, and I think I'm missing inputs. So I go this way. Ah, yes. The control robot is running wild. Ooh. Mosaic effect there. Oh, sorry, your control robot is now toast. There we go. Oh, more control robots that are rogue. Anyway, so I can put this far out. I always forget that the SNES has more than 3 buttons, so I try and play stuff on keyboard and then realise that, you know, it's not like a Genesis game where, you know, you've got your 3 buttons. You've got far more buttons to have to remember and handle and deal with. The architect who designed this building is on his way over. He'll be here in about 15 minutes. But, yeah, I'm probably going to not play too much more of this one. You get the idea. It's a game where you're using water as a weapon to put things out. There's a lot of coverage of this on YouTube. I think it's quite a well-known game, but it's also... it's a game that there's not really anything else like. So, I think if you've not played it, check it out. So it seems to run in a playable state in MAME. Yeah, they could probably do with some work. Hey FC Den Haag, thank you for joining. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I think there's definitely potential for a lot of work to be done on the SNES driver. It's just a case of somebody with a real interest in the SNES coming along and doing it, I think. Because it's one that's, if you don't know the SNES, you don't know all your test cases, it'd be very hard to improve. But yeah, this was, say, the Fireman, and it's a good fun SNES game that runs in a playable way in MAME. Let's go back to Downhill. Extreme Downhill. Now this is kind of similar to the snowboarding one we saw earlier. Burning Rangers is the Saturn one I was thinking of, yes. Yeah, Bob. Yes, that's the Saturn one I was thinking of. Yeah, MAME's not the go-to emulator for those systems for a lot of people, Custado, but since my streams are themed around MAME, if they run in MAME and they're fun in MAME, I'll cover them. Here we go. This is Extreme Downhill from Sammy. For speed course, for beginner. Okay. So, let's get this. Press the button to decrease the speed. So yeah, I think this is maybe slightly better presented than the previous one. But I'm not sure. It doesn't seem quite as playable to me. Also, you're going up. It's really off-putting that it's called Extreme Downhill and the first stage has you going up the screen. It really feels more like World Rally than even Gaelco's effort. Also, I'm running over snowmen. It's definitely extreme. There we go. So, I don't know. The presentation seems smoother, less Euro-y. Oh, well, thank you for giving me a follow, FC Dan Hog. I've been streaming on and off for a while now, though I've been making it more regular thing recently. Not really a regular slot, so I just do it when I feel like doing it. But you can usually find me on here at some point during the weekend, and sometimes during the week too. So thank you. And there's not going to be much of this stream left because I usually keep them about 3 hours, and we're probably just over 3 hours now. So either this or the next game is probably going to be the last one for this stream. Although I think I will do another one based around this snowy, icy, watery theme. If anybody has any gassy games, you know, that'd be an idea too. But that's definitely extreme. That's jumping over a big canyon. I think that yeah, there's a ghost rider there showing you the best time. Yeah, this is the CRT Geom Deluxe filter that comes with MAME FC Den Haag, and it tends to just with the default settings on it just tend to do a really good job of giving you a CRT look. So I enable it for the streams. It's a solid filter. Makes a lot of games that otherwise look kind of bad look. Oh dear. I don't think I just failed there. I think I probably died. But let's keep going. Let's jump. So, but yeah, you can see just what an influence Gaelco's World Rally had, though, because it not only spawned clones of World Rally with cars, it also spawned, you know, these sports games with skis, and it's the same formula. It's, of course, it tells you the direction, it tells you where the hazards are relative to the path you're meant to be following. And they kind of did invent the genre, at least with this perspective. And many of the games are perfectly playable. Toilet Kids on the PC Engine. That's probably up there with Boogerman in terms of gassy games, and Burglar X, isn't it? But I was thinking more of water vapor. Abe's Oddworld. Maybe. Anyway. I think we've seen enough of extreme downhill, haven't we? So that's, yeah, we've just gone over the 3-hour mark now. So the next game is the last game. Oh, Ice Climber was mentioned in the chat. Shall we go with Ice Climber? I've not even done Pengo. I said in the description I've probably ended up doing Pengo, but I've not done Pengo. But never mind. Ice Climber. No, I think this is one of the ones with 2 monitors. No, it's not. It's okay. I'm getting confused with another one. Some of the Versus System games are dual monitor. I thought this one was, but I'm probably wrong. This is a single monitor one. Yeah, let's play a bit of Ice Climber. Okay, this is a game that people copied and cloned a fair bit, but that's the most generic jump sound you could imagine. Yes, you have to get to the top. So it's one of those tower climb games, really. There we go. There we go. Bonus stage. I meant to get the items after. Yeah, this is so classic, simple gameplay. Can't get up there without the cloud. Again, tower climb games became very popular. A lot of them were more basic than this, you know, just jumping on platforms at the right time. But this is an early example of that, you know, climbing up a tower, platform by platform, with all the frustrations you'd associate with that. And I'm out of time. I did do the Mega Drive Pepenga. It's an interesting game because it doesn't quite play like Pengo. And I did briefly even boot Pengo on that. You're right. So I guess a brief preview of Pengo counts as Pengo. Maybe. I mean, maybe Pengo was just a bit too obvious. Fell down. I'm not doing very well here. I'm meant to be climbing up here. Okay, clearly I don't want to climb up the tower, do I? Now, you'd expect this game to actually be really easy, but it's actually tricky. I think because your horizontal movement when you jump is really limited. You have to know where you want to jump. Don't move much in terms of the horizontal direction. It's mostly a vertical jump. Which means it's very easy to not jump on the platforms. Unless you know what you're doing. And, you know, you're pretty good with your timing and your jumps. And know exactly how much to... And you also bounce off the walls. So you have to know... So yeah, I'm quite bad at Ice Climber. Oh wait, I can walk behind. I don't know what the 2 pickup is. Let's skip this. Let's insert. Let's try again. See, you can choose these left side. Let's go to mountain 24. So it's, you know, I was bad at the original mountain. Yeah, I'm not going to play this for too long, but I just wanted to show it. Again, this is one I'll probably play on another stream. Now, this is sort of ice mechanics, but it's also more conveyor belt mechanics. You always move in one direction on these platforms. And I'm not getting very far here, am I? Nope. Now this sort of made it onto the Game & Watch units, but it was just Climber on the Game & Watch, but it shared very similar gameplay ideas and mechanics. So I'm not sure why it was just Climber, not Ice Climber there. I would have thought they would go with the better known IP. Yeah, the jumping makes this very hard. It's one where you have to really learn how to play it. If you try and play it with like the jumps on any other game, you just do what I'm doing now and fail. If you play it for a good like 10-15 minutes and you get used to it, you start to know how the jumps are going to go and you play it much better. But yeah, it's when you have to spend a bit more time with or warm up with a bit, and I've not done the warm-ups. Anyway, as I say, I think we've gone past 3 hours now, so I will be calling this stream here, but I say I will probably do another part of this at some point. I don't know when I'm going to do the next part. I don't know when I'm going to do the next maze game part or anything else. But yeah, and some of the things that have been mentioned in the chat, I have to take note of too and potentially add to the list. All right, thank you, Manshovel, and yes, goodbye, and thank you for joining. I will see you on another stream, I'm sure, be it one of mine or somebody else's. And likewise, everybody else, thank you for joining, and it's good to see some new faces too. Say FT Den Haag, thank you for dropping by, and I've seen you in plenty of other streams of Zyphos, so always good to see you here too. And Custado, yeah, so everybody who's been here, thank you. It's always appreciated, and it's good to see you having a chat with each other as well, you know, on Bionic Commando and subjects like that. And a lot of the suggestions that have been dropped into the chat, so it's all good. And yeah, bye Master Ninja, thank you for joining as well. Thank you, Thor. Thank you, Kroon. I can't remember how you pronounce it anymore because I've forgotten since you told me earlier. But it's Klingon, and I can't. It'll stick in my mind at some point. It hasn't stuck in my mind yet. You'll probably have to remind me several times. Thank you to R09. Yes, so there's lots of people. Thank you, Gangrel. Just scrolling up, and yeah, thank you, Stephen. And yes, Toobin was good. Yeah, so there's plenty more. Anyway, so bye bye, take care, and thank you all for joining. Next stream is All in Klingon. Yeah, sorry, I'm really bad with pronunciations at the best of times, and it's like, anyway, bye bye, take care, and I'll see you all